Have you ever wondered what a fitness subscription box would look like if it's not following the typical trends of the black and white or the neon colours? Today you're going to find that out as we're going to be creating a unique brand that really differentiates itself. So yeah, and this brand is a brief from Wildflower Design Core, and this is from the brand Bootcamp week 7. And I think this is a really great source for anyone that really struggles with creating names. It already has descriptions and values, so if you want to join along and create these great brands that are already out there with all these descriptions and briefs and stuff, I would definitely recommend it. And if you already don't know, my name is Cami. I am a brand designer / brand strategist, and here on YouTube I create tons of passion projects. And if you want to check me out, you can also find me on Instagram, where I share some tips and tricks and behind the scenes. So yeah, let's get started. So this gym subscription box is called the Good Form Project, and the brand values are energetic, inclusive, motivating and brave. And like I said before, they want to stay away from the typical black and white and neon colours, and they want to have a more unique, differentiating brand. So the first step is having a mood board. So we're going to jump into Pinterest to get some inspiration and create our mood board. So the first thing that I think when I was reading this brief, and the first ideas that came to my mind, was a peachy colour, and I wanted to go with a bit of pastel colours, explore that idea. So I think a peach colour was definitely something that I wanted to include. So the first search that I did was peaches to get the colours from the peach and see how that goes. And then obviously next I was researching some photography just to add a vibe to my mood board. What I think mood boards are about is to create the general vibe, as well as include some colours as well as typography. So that is definitely things that I do include inside my mood board, from photography, colours and typography. And I was definitely keeping with these peachy colours, as I do think there isn't a lot of fitness brands or subscription boxes that do use these sort of colours, the peachy colours, pastel colours. They're definitely very black and white and neon colour orientated. So I've obviously been adding all these images to my Pinterest board, and it allows me to then be able to load more and see what Pinterest basically recommends to me, to see if there is anything that they basically picked up on and if there's any inspiration I can see from there. And after I'm done with my Pinterest board, I throw it into Illustrator to create a more condensed mood board that really focuses on the mood, the vibes, as well as the typography and colours. So what I do here is obviously get my board and copy and paste the images into my Illustrator. And what I do here is I create some boxes and then obviously use the clipping tool. And then I kind of just move the images about to basically create a more attractive looking mood board. So I wouldn't have all the photos in a line, as it wouldn't look as attractive, rather than having it like a mix. And I think a mix definitely looks more attractive, at least to me. So as you can see, I have here some photography of people working out, as well as some typography and peaches. And from that I've been picking some colours from the colours already there. And I've created two sort of colour palettes that I think could work, which is this creamy colour, as well as the greens and the peach, as well as the creamy colour and blues and the peach. And I've actually decided to go with the blues, as I think it works better. And I think with the photos here, I've tried it out, and basically what I do is create I put the colour on top and I play about the opacity. Sorry, it's a really difficult word to say. Most of the time I think the soft colour, was it called soft light, one of them, I don't remember. So I lay over the photo and then I add the colour, and basically it creates you can see the colours more, and it creates more of a vibe, if you get what I mean. I hope that makes sense. And the next step is typography and the logo. So I like to create typography logos. That is where I basically go for most of these things, and I do believe that for a fitness brand, a typography logo definitely fits. So I really liked this image from my mood board, so I threw that into Adobe. And if you didn't know, you can throw images in there and they will basically try and look for typography that fits. And basically I had a look on that. I've saved some of those, as well as just had a look in general sans serifs, as that's the idea that I have, to have a sans serif type. So yeah. So after I'm done searching for types on Adobe, I throw the favorites into Illustrator, place them in a line, and this really allows me to see the differences between these fonts, and basically allows me to know what really works and what really doesn't. And the first couple fonts are usually quite easy to pick off compared to the last 2 or 3. And here you can see I'm adding some extra letters, so I thought it could be a good idea for the logo to contain the GFP rather than the whole the good form project. So I definitely wanted to see how that looks as well, just to have a very clear comparison. And as you can see, it was definitely a struggle choosing what font is the best, but we always get there. And the reason that I've chosen this font is because of the E. I really liked the E and I felt it really worked, and I really wanted something that is quite simple and something that I can work with, and basically this was the vibe that I was going for. I wanted something that is quite minimalistic. And at this moment in time, I've been definitely just trying things out, seeing what works, what doesn't. So it's definitely a trial and error thing. And during that time, I was really struggling with a creative block. So this was actually my first project to try and get out of the creative block. I was still inside the creative block, so that was quite difficult. So this did take me a couple of days just to wrap my head around it. But we definitely got over it, and I've already been working on the next project, my next passion project, and it was definitely much easier after this project. So like I said, just tons of trial and error, trying to make this more unique to the brand. But like I said, it was definitely a struggle to be creative. So I'm still unsure how I feel about the logo. I don't know if it's because it might not be my usual style, or if it's just not my best work. So let you guys decide. And I think sometimes you shouldn't expect always to create the best project. I think it's better to have the practice rather than having perfection. Sometimes things just don't work out. Like with this, I'm still unsure about it, and that's fine. I think it's important to know that sometimes things are not going to be perfect, and it's better to move on, learn from it, and just continue, because sometimes you can't have perfection, and that's absolutely fine. As if I stayed on this project and continued working on it, I probably wouldn't get far with it anyways. If probably go back a few steps, because I was just trying to create something perfect when it was really not coming to me. And generally speaking, the reason that I chose this brief was because it was really out of my comfort zone, which probably wasn't the time to go for a project like this, as I was literally trying to get out of this creative block. So this was definitely a difficult brief for me to work on. But I think we've got there in the end. Still definitely unsure how I feel exactly, and I do believe that it does look good, but I don't think it's as good as all of my other projects, and I think that's fine. Like I said, don't always aim for perfection. So what I decided with the logo is to create this. I kept it really simple with this one. I had a good form and the project in a circle surrounding the M, and then the circle kind of interacts with the M, which I thought is a nice touch, creates some interest. So after the logo, I will be creating some logo variations, which this will be a logo mark, and what I did here was combine the G and the F and really allow these two letters to interact and create its own shape. And it was really important for me to make it clear that this is a G and an F, so you can see that I'm removing some bits of the G so you can clearly see that there's an F inside it as well. And I think it definitely created a very unique shape, which is very important as you want your brand to be quite distinctive, and you don't want anyone to choose the font and type it out and then have basically the logo or the logo mark. So having something unique about the brand is very important. So the logo mark is definitely a unique factor for this brand. And finally we get to creating the colours, ensuring that everything works as planned. As you can see, I obviously had the colours beforehand, but sometimes after doing the mood board these colours may change, you never know. But in my case, the colour palette that I've chosen really worked together quite well, and yeah, I do believe that it does fill these values that this brand is about, and it definitely doesn't go with the typical black and white or the neon colours, so going for these peachy colours and the blues really worked well. And I'm just doing some final tweaks of the logo mark just to ensure that everything is on point, and then I will be jumping into creating a pattern for this brand. So I was quite unsure on what to do with the pattern, so I thought it'd be a good idea to play about with the logo mark and just create different things with it. So as you can see, I'm trying to twist the logo mark about. Before we continue, if you like this video so far, please give it a like, subscribe, comment, as it really helps my channel out. So yeah, let's get back to it. Combine them, see what happens. And I've created a couple variations of what this logo mark could be. So the issue that I had here was that the pattern ended up having 69 on it, and it was quite clear that this was a 69. So I definitely wanted to keep away with that. I think it's very important to always look back at the brand and the branding in general, just to see if there is anything like this. As a designer, sometimes these things may not be clear because you are looking at this brand for a very long time. So it's sometimes good to take a break and have a look at the brand back to see if there is any of these sort of messages behind it. Basically, having a massive 69 in the patterns would not be the best with this brand. And yeah, then I finally got into creating some social media posts. So I wanted to get some photography, and the photography is from Pexels, and that is where I started to incorporate the photography, and I wanted to add some value posts as well as some motivational, inspirational quotes. That could be a very good idea for this brand, so it's definitely something to keep in mind. As basically for the content on social media, it's important to have a variation of content pillars. So you don't want to always post a picture of your product or service. You want to have a variation between your product, some value or education posts, and I think it's always good to have some motivational, inspirational quotes, especially for this brand, as their motto was strength over size. So that's definitely something to consider and add into the social media posts. And I've also created some packaging for this. Unfortunately, I don't have the actual footage of me making it, but it was quite simple. I basically looked for some mock-ups and then put the name on the bottle, as well as put the name on top of the box and used the logo mark to create a bit of a pattern, which was a bit different compared to the pattern that I've created. However, the one that I created was a bit too busy for this specific box. And then I wanted to incorporate more of the patterns inside and just have some subtle things. So I added the logo marked for the value text. So it has like basically like a little soft shadow, a soft light. So it's not quite in your face, but it's there. As well as on one of the posts, I've created another subtle touch with the pattern being over the photo. So you can slightly see it, there's a bit of light there. And I think it does add a little bit of interest. And then finally, what I like to do is bring the brand colours back into the photography. So what I did was again grab the colour and then put it on top of the photography and play with the opacity. And again, it was the soft light that really worked with this one. So let's see all of this brand together. So sit back and relax and see what you think. We've come to the end of my video and I hope you have enjoyed this video. I've really enjoyed creating this brand. If you have any feedback, please leave it below. I want to improve as a designer, and if you have any questions, also leave them below. I'd love to help you guys out in any way possible. So yeah, if you liked the video, like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you guys next time.